Hello everyone and welcome back to the Lazy Knitter podcast. Today is episode 7. It's the 9th of July 2016. It's a Saturday. I'm recording a little later than usual. I woke up and I wasn't feeling well enough to record. But I took a nap a few hours ago and I feel a little better now, so I thought I would give it a try anyway. First things first, my name is Renee. You can find me on Instagram as Renee_Kies, on Ravelry as Alazybeauty. And on Ravelry you can also find my pattern designs. Just search for Renee Kies, or you can click through on my profile page as Alazybeauty. And I think I also have it linked in my Instagram account. Sorry, my throat is ticklish and I didn't think to get a drink, so I'll be okay. First things first, last week I forgot something that I wanted to mention. I wanted to do a few shout outs to some other podcasts that had mentioned me and that I really enjoy watching myself as well. And I wanted to thank them and mention them, but I totally forgot. So I'm going to do that this week. First up is Britta from the Wolgoed podcast. It's a Dutch podcast, so if you're Dutch or you just like watching pretty pictures, check out her podcast. She's really awesome. She really has an amazing voice. It's very pleasant to listen to, and I'm sorry if you heard sound. I'm fidgeting. And then Caroline from the Colorful Creativity podcast. She has her own Etsy shop as well. And Britta has the wolgoed.nl web shop. She sells ecological and nature-friendly yarns, which is something I really admire, and I'm hoping to do a little more research into and maybe place an order sometime in the future. But Caroline has the Colorful Creativity podcast. She podcasts in English, but she's also Dutch. And she has 2 adorable cats. They're called Laia and Binks. And they're just super adorable, and they sometimes make a little cameo in the podcast, which is fun. Next is Catherine from the Lukuki Knits podcast. She mentioned my podcast, and I hadn't heard of her podcast before, but I checked it out, and she's really fun. She has quite a lot of projects on the needles, which, as I tend to want to cast on all the things, is very fun for me to watch, because it means, yeah, I can do it too. She's just very fun to listen to and to watch. And next is the Miriam Molenbeek podcast. She also podcasts in Dutch, I believe. Or not. Shoot, I forgot. No, I think she podcasts in English and her blog is in Dutch. And the thing that I like about her podcasts is that she tries to keep them under or around 15 minutes. So they're really short, fun, quick videos that almost everyone will have 15 minutes of spare time in a day. With my podcast, sometimes it's close to 55 minutes. You need time to watch those, but those 15-minute podcasts you can really keep up on, which I really like. And then, back to regular scheduled business. I'm a little distracted, sorry, I'm very tired. I'm still not feeling great. If you're wondering why no makeup, I really do want to make an effort for the podcast. It's not that I don't want to. I'm also wearing my glasses for the first time. I wear glasses. But my eyes are oddly irritated or maybe even a little infected, especially this one. And I just don't want to risk putting any makeup or mascara on and annoying it further, because my eyes are so tired. I am more tired. I don't like it, so I'm just trying to be nice to them. It's a short episode today. I have no snippets. My whole week has revolved around Tour de Fleece, which I will talk about a little later. And there's not much knitting going on as well. And I just realized I forgot to grab my spinning. Oh, I can reach it. Good planning. I've also decided my schedule is still a mess. I'm trying to figure out what works best for me. Recording on Thursday, obviously, however much I want to, is not it. I really like the idea of uploading on Friday, but it's just not working. So I think right now I'm just gonna say that I will upload on Monday, and I will record either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. That way I have a little more stretch in my planning. My planning is a little more flexible, and if something comes up or I don't feel good or something like that, then I don't have to immediately feel completely stressed out for not being able to podcast. So I think I'll do that. And I'm not going to promise it'll be there every Monday. I know myself, I won't make it if I promise. But I'm going to try. Let's just jump right into FOs. You first saw this project last week. These are the Magic Zauberball Stripe Socks. The pattern is by Trofutrilla on Ravelry and it's a free pattern. I used a Shoppelwolle Crazy Zauberball in the colorway Fische, and I really like these. One thing about the yarn, there was a dark green color in this sock that really bled quite a lot. My hands after knitting them were black. It's a really dark green, so I thought it was black at first, but the water turned a bright, pea green. It was really gross. It was a gross color. But I think it was a green, or you dye black differently than I don't know how that works, but I'm happy with these. They fit well. They're really soft. The Zauberball is surprisingly soft, and they turned out a little different than I had planned. I had hoped to do a heel flap and gusset construction, but that caused the two yarns to end up in the same color section, and therefore I would just have a huge blob of color right here, and then it would just not stripe anymore, and I didn't want that. So I ripped back. I was on this sock, and I was about here, and I ripped back, and I even took out some sneaky sections of yarn to go faster through the colors that I didn't like, because as you can see here, there are some shades that the yarn is a 2-ply, and 1 ply is a bright color in this section, and the other is a black ply. And in the end, I don't hate it. I actually quite like the result, but it's not my favorite. I had expected these bright colors, even though the sharp defined colors, not muddled by the black. I do like the result, but next time I buy a Zauberball, I will look for those colors and not pick one with a black ply, because I'm picky. Then my favorite, these were knit on 2.25 millimeters, which is a US 1, except for the cast on row and the first 2 rows on each sock, because that's when I decided 2.25 would be better, so I switched from my 2.5 to that. Let me see, where was I? Here. The Molly Weasley blanket is back, as always. I really like knitting these squares because I've been so focused on spinning this week. These squares are just short, easy things to knit that don't require much concentration, don't put too much stress on my hands because my body is suffering a little from all the spinning. So these were perfect. And I've had some trouble sleeping for quite a while now, and I ended up putting all my Molly Weasley stuff right next to my bed. Needles, yarn, there was like a huge pile of yarn next to my bed, and then this blanket, and if I woke up and I couldn't sleep, I would grab my book and my blanket and just do a little knitting till I felt tired again. So this is the first square I knit this week. If you recognize the yarn, 3 points to you. It's the Shoppelwolle Zauberball. I like it, and I made a boo-boo, I just realized. I never thought that I forgot about the bleeding, even though I warned myself to remember it, and so I just moved in. But I don't think this section was bleeding. It was only on the first sock, and it was the section with the black ply, so maybe it was from the black. And this is, what was it? Shibui Staccato, I think. I was really impressed by how soft and how nice to knit with this was. I got it in a Jimmy Bean's wool beanie bag. I signed up, I did 3 months of that bag. You get a little bag with some yarn samples every month, and I did that for 3 months, and then I decided, okay, no, it's not for me. I was hoping to get a lot of fingering weight, and at the time there was a lot of worsted weight or fatter in there, and I just decided, okay, no, that's not worth it for me. But they really are very fun. You get a pattern every month to go with it, and they now have new bags as well, where you can get larger quantities, or I think you can pick colors as well. I don't know if you can choose weights yet, but this was really pleasant to knit with. It's the colorway Caffeine. I never thought this would be a color that I would like, but it is. I really enjoyed knitting with this. This is hand dyed by MJ Sokowool. She is a dyer who lives local to me, and I made a pair of monkey socks from this once. This is a mermaid knitting mini skein, and it's not super obvious in this one, but I ran out again. I decided to knit that I had talked about last week how I didn't find that those squares were a little tighter. If I could get them to finish, didn't have to run out, I would knit them on smaller needles, and that I was knitting on the zings, and that way they weren't running out. But I decided after all, I didn't like it. I wanted them to be more like the other squares, a little looser, less tight. They were really dense. So I went back to my 2.75mm needles, which is, where did I write it down? It's a 2, a US 2. And then I ran out for quite a bit, and I didn't like that. This color is not so obvious, but in other colors it is. So then I picked another one, and I went back to my 2.5 carbons. I knit the 2.75 needles are also carbons, my favorite needles ever. This one, and I only ran out a tiny little bit, so I think I will go with that for the rest of these minis, because I have quite a few left. Because the zings, the 2.5s, I really don't like. I actually hate knitting with them. If they're my last resort needles, if I really need a 2.5 and everything else is taken, I'll take the zings. But I don't really want to, so I think I'm going to get rid of them. The bigger sizes and the zings are fine. I just don't like knitting with them in the smaller sizes. I don't like how they feel in my hands. I don't like how they knit, and the size of the needles is wrong in my case. Some of them, I've seen pictures of people where they are the exact right size, but my 2.5s are more like 2.25s, which is annoying because they're not supposed to be. This is an Opal Advent Calendar mini, as is this. This is another mermaid knitting one, a really nice bright, because this one was so dark I thought I need something super bright next to it. And this is an Opal Advent Calendar mini, and that's the blanket so far. I'm coming up on 200 squares right now, so I'm happy with that. I'm really hoping to crunch on it a little bit. My blanket is 26 squares wide, and I want to make it 26 squares long, so a square. And the first row, the 24 squares in the middle, so the outer 2 squares are something else, but the 24 squares are from the Opal Advent Calendar minis in the order that I received them from my Advent calendar. And then there's a row of just random squares, and then there's another row with the Advent Calendar minis in order, and now I'm just doing them random wherever I feel they fit. But I have ordered another Advent calendar for this year, and I know myself, once I'm finally allowed to start opening those little boxes for every day, I'm gonna want to knit with those immediately. And I want to knit those into my blanket, and I want to do them on the exact opposite end of the blanket, so row 26 and row 24. And I'm nowhere near there yet, so I'm trying to crunch, but there's no way I'm gonna get there before Christmas, before the 1st of December. So I had an idea. Let me grab the blanket again. Right now, all my lines are going from my right to my left. For you guys, it'll probably be the opposite way. And I thought 13 rows is exactly half. So if I knit the 13 rows and just stop there from this for what I'm knitting on now, and then when I could do the same for the other half, but then I can seam them together in the middle, and one row the spines will be going like this and then like this, which I think would be very interesting. So if you see my exploding lines dishcloth, something like that. And that way I could immediately cast on with my new minis in December. I'm just not sure if I'm gonna like seaming it. I really like the texture on the back of the blanket, and I kind of like that they all go the same way. But on the other hand, I really want to knit with these in December. I'm gonna want to knit with those minis, I'm just sure of it. So please let me know what you think. Should I just go to 13 rows and then start the second half separately and then seam them together? Or should I just be patient and not knit with them in December and just keep going? But that's gonna make me sad. And another problem with that is because I intermix the current minis randomly after those 2 planned rows, I want to do the same with the ones from this year. But if I've already done everything up until row 24 and 26, that's not possible anymore. I might have to go with the seaming. But okay, works in progress. I have quite a lot this week. No, I don't have quite a lot this week, actually. I don't have much at all. I don't know why I said that. This is a new one. It's a design I'm working on, and I've managed to get it all tangled. Let's get rid of that one. As you can see, I'm working. It's a shorty sock. I have gotten spoiled. I have gotten so used to hand knit socks that I don't like regular store-bought socks anymore, and I have a lot of sneakers. And if you're wearing long jeans or something like that, you can get away with wearing mid-calf socks, and you just see a little bit peeping under your, peeping out near your ankles. That's fine. I like that. People like seeing that for some reason. I get a lot of compliments on my socks that way, which is fun. But I wanted some socks that I could wear with, you know, shorts or a dress, or if I'm going, I wanted to make a little more sporty pair so that perhaps I could wear them while walking out, because wool has such good properties for sweaty feet and it's just so much more comfortable, if you ask me. I wanted to see if that would work. So I started with basically a little toe, toe, and it's double, so it's extra soft and it just sort of cushions your Achilles heel. And then some ribbing, a heel flap and gusset construction, and then some arch shaping. It's the same texture as on the back of the heel flap, and it just makes it a little thicker, a little softer, and it sort of pulls it in around your arches. And then the plain foot, and now I'm working on the toe. The yarn I'm using is Woolbutt Calgary. I'm not sure if you pronounce it Woolbutt. It's a German brand. It's from the web store Bitnet. But you write Woolbutt. So I'm just going to say Woolbutt because I think it's funny. And this is a gradient-like yarn. The gradient was a little more harsh than I expected when I first knit with this yarn, because I've knit another pair of socks with the blue version of this yarn. But it's very soft, and I thought it worked perfectly for these. I'm knitting these on 2.5mm needles, which are US 1.5, except for the ribbing, which I did on 2.25 millimeter needles, which is... I didn't write that down. Which is US 1. I knew that. Oh, let's get the blanket over there. Then the next whip I didn't really knit on, but I did do something. It's my fox paws. This is the front, and you might notice that there's a bit missing here. I spent some hours, I'm not joking, I literally took hours to weave in those ends I had so far. I've done 2 repeats and there were like gazillion ends. But because the yarn is so slippery and this is such an interesting texture, I wasn't quite sure how to go about it, so it took me a little while to figure out what I wanted to do. And then, oh, it's on this end. I can't even find it anymore, so I obviously did well. But I didn't want it to be very visible, but I hadn't left very long ends either. This is pretty much the length of the ends, and that doesn't go very far. And it's so slippery, and I wanted to have a nice edge. It took me a while, and the weaving in just takes forever, so I think it took about 2 to 3 hours. I'm really slow. I was watching Game of Thrones, so I might have been a little bit distracted as well. And I think I will get back to knitting on this week, because now that the ends are gone, I can continue on it. Now, one last whip, and it is soon no longer to be a whip, because I have made a decision, if I can get it out. It is the Soleado mitts. The pattern is by Feathered Whale Knits on Ravelry. It's a paid-for pattern. The pattern is great. It's well written, easy to understand, clear charts and everything. I just really hate my color choices. I absolutely don't like these. And because I hate my color choices so much, I don't want to knit on them at all. I really have to push myself to knit on them, and then I'm like grumbling the entire time and just hoping to knit on something else. It goes 10 times slower than any other knitting I do because I don't want to do it. It's just not working for me. I actually described the colors to my mom on the phone, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I don't know about that." So I really messed up on these. I don't like them. First I thought I would just continue knitting them and finish them and give them to someone. Because if you frog these or rip these, because they're such short color changes, you just end with a bunch of scraps. I don't care. I've decided and I'm gonna do it live. These are going. I don't like them. They're going away. And I'm just gonna rip them out. And I'll probably put some music under this because I'm gonna rip them completely out all on camera. So I'll shut up now. All done. And now I'm covered in yarn ends. It doesn't even look like much when you look at it like this. Totally worth it. I think frogging is kind of satisfying, especially when you don't like the project or you just really have to frog and you know there's a lifeline waiting for you or there is no need to keep it. You can just I like it. And I can use these ends to tie off my skeins from spinning and such stuff like that. So it's not, I'm not never going to finish that all and I'm probably going to throw them away eventually, but I can recycle some of it. Next up is shopping. I bought some spinning stuff and because I spun some of it, I'm showing that first instead of doing spinning talk first. I ordered from Dutch Wool Diva. It's a Dutch web shop and she sells yarn, hand-dyed yarns. She now also sells some commercial yarns, I think Lang yarns, and she sells some needles and she sells spinning stuff. She sometimes has spindles as well, but I mentioned last week my project to spin a bunch of 10-gram minis and start a hand-spun blanket. Ambitious as ever, but I decided I need more 10-gram stuff. I finished my first packet, which I'll show you in a little bit. So I ordered this pack of 10-gram mini bats, and I'd never spun from a bat before, so it's very interesting. And this was a pack of 6. As you can see, one is missing, which I'll show you in a little bit. And they're just, they're basically made using her leftovers from her shop, and she just blends them all together, so you get surprising mixes sometimes. There's some with stellina, there's super soft, there's a bunch of nice colors, and really fun. And that's what I bought. So on to spinning, and I can show you the one I spun immediately. This is the one I spun this morning. It was a purple with a bit of white and some stellina, and it's very, very soft. I'd never spun stellina before, and when I was done, my entire shirt was covered in stellina, but it was very fun. The only thing I noticed is it's very fluffy, and my nose got a little annoyed, but whatever. I don't mind. It's super soft. I'm gonna try and play it tonight, I think, maybe while watching TV. So this is 10 grams spun. I don't know what's in the fiber, just know that it's very pretty and very, very soft. And a little more fuzzy than just merino, so I think it's a mix of some sort. And then my big main project for the Tour de Fleece was this. I showed you 2 braids of 150 grams each, so 300 grams total last week of a cordial fiber from Elfwolle. I finished my first braid. This is 150 grams, and I love the colors. They're just perfect, and yeah, no unexpected color mixing with this one because it's all in the same tonal shade, and it's really very soft, and I had a lot of fun spinning this. But my spinning, I tend to overdo it a little when I can smell when I can see the finish line. And yesterday I spun about half, and that is probably why I wasn't feeling so great today. I tend to overdo it, and my neck and my shoulders are really angry with me right now. My back, not so much. That was the main cause of injuries in my spinning in the beginning, but it doesn't seem to be so bad right now. So I'm not spinning much today. I spun this one and the last bit of that, and yeah, that's probably going to be it for today. I might try and apply this, but maybe not. Maybe I'll just knit on my sock. There's a random needle lying there, and I was trying to think what it was from. It's from my sock. Let me stick it there so I don't lose it. What else would I want to mention for spinning? Oh yeah, the mini skeins. I mentioned that I finished the first batch. I had a pack of 6 little blue bits of roving, and one I spun before the Tour de Fleece. That was, yeah, which one was that? This one, I think. No, maybe not. One of them. I spun one of them before the Tour de Fleece. I'm not sure now which one. Definitely not these. I think it was this one. So this was the first one that I spun before the tour, and then I spun these other 5 little ones, and I'm very happy with how they come out. But I did notice it's supposed to be the same fiber, but some of them are decidedly softer than the others, namely these 2. And these are a little harsher, and these were also a lot easier to spin than the other colors. I'm not sure if that's because of the way they are dyed, but it was fun. It was surprising to me. And these 2 turn out better than the other ones, so that explains why. Yeah, I'm very happy with these, and I'm going to save them until I have a few more of those little minis. I have no idea on yardage yet. I really need to calculate that, but I don't want to. It sounds boring. So I'm looking around to see what I have. Oh, the Alpha, I have the tag here. It's colorway Bright Agua. It's 100% Corriedale. And this is the info from the dyer, Alpha Vola. She's one of my favorites. I have a lot of hers. Knitting plans as the last segment for today. I don't really have any big plans, but because I tend to overdo it with spinning once I get in the groove, I'm just gonna try and be nice to my hands. I'm not planning on knitting overly much. My main focus will still be spinning this week and just relaxing. And I'm probably going to my parents again next week, but I'm not sure quite yet on the date. But I'm kind of tempted to ask them to help me bring my spinning wheel, because I want to finish that Corriedale and I want to keep on spinning on my wheel during the tour. If not, I will probably bring a spindle and a new spinning project, and I will finish the Corriedale after. I don't even know how long I'm staying yet, but we're planning some fun things, so I might be there for a little while. I have no idea. Nothing's set in stone yet. Other knitting plans, I want to finish my sneaker socks, and I want to make a bunch of samples for that one to show how it looks in different colors and solid, semi-solid, striping, maybe even a speckle. And it doesn't seem to be using much yarn at all, so I could probably use some leftovers as well for that, and just whip up some handy short socks, because I don't have any right now. And I want to get that published as soon as possible, while it's still summer, so people can still actually use them. I have everything written out that I need for the pattern in my notes. I just need to type it up. So, and I need to get some pictures, but I need to finish the sample for that first. So I'm hoping around next week that I should have a working pattern and that I could get it into testing. And I might pick up my fox paws because I missed it. And it's fun, and I want to see it progress, and I just like knitting on it. Daily life, not much is happening. My mom came back from Korea, and the airplane lost her bag. But thankfully it was found pretty fast again. It was sent to us by mail the next day. And yeah, it just had gotten left behind in the transfer, so it happens. It wasn't too bad, but it's a little stupid if you come home from a really long journey and then not have your bags there. It just sucks. So that was a bit of a bummer. And yeah, I've just been all about the spinning. I have tried to watch the tour a little bit, but it's not really my thing. The European Championships for athletics are also on right now, and that's way more interesting to me, so I've been watching that mostly. That's it, I think. I have nothing else to say. Yeah. That's it. I will see you next week. This was a bit of a shorter episode, so hopefully I have more next week, but it might still just be all about the spinning. Bye. See you next week.